That's it. I can no longer defend the NBA. I admit defeat. I'm throwing in the towel. The critics are right. It's incredibly soft. And the league continues to coddle guys making tens of millions of dollars, including Kevin Durant, who got defensive yet again on Twitter. Plus, a clip that I thought initially was AI until I verified it. A WNBA legend thinks Angel Reese should bribe her teammates with cash. So much to break down on this episode. I'm Doug Kazarian. This is Hard Pass, also available in podcast. As someone who's been in broadcasting for 25 years, including 11 at ESPN, I certainly know and am aware of how easy it is to say something stupid. I know from experience. I get it. You wear a microphone long enough, you're going to regret something you said. Okay, but usually that blunder occurs when you're ad-libbing or discussing something off the cuff, not a situation like this we have here. And that's what makes a few recent examples in the hoops world such head scratchers. We'll get to the WNBA nonsense in a bit, but first, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver really surprised me. He's always so polished, forward-thinking, empathetic as well, except for this instance, when asked about the rising cost for fans to watch games, not in person, but consume them on television, given all the different platforms that will now televise games.
There's a huge amount of our content that people can essentially consume for free. I mean, this is very much a highlights-based sport, so, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, you name it, any service, the New York Times for that matter, to the extent that your content is not behind a paid firewall. There's an enormous amount of content out there. YouTube, by another example, that is advertising based that consumers can consume.
Now, I would imagine he was trying to encourage low-income fans to see the glass half full or something along those lines, but it clearly came off differently. It felt more like, well, tough. Deal with it. Watch highlights. There are just so many better ways to respond to that question. A question he had to know he was going to be asked at some point, given all the news surrounding TV deals and the TNT move inside the NBA over to ESPN. Blame the TV bidding wars. Blame the rising cost of production. Blame inflation. Whatever. Anything. Not that response. It goes without saying that fans should always be embraced, even if just for the reason they're the ones paying the bills and the salaries. But again, this feels like another example of wanting to protect the product, which, to be fair, justifiably is the superstars, right? It's a visible league. No helmets. Fans are right there on the court. The stars are everywhere. They don't just play offense or defense. They play everything and nearly the entire game. They are in high demand. If you don't believe me, check out the situation with the Clippers and Steve Ballmer and what teams are willing to do for the elite superstars. Nonetheless, Adam Silver should have known better. And as you would imagine, there was some reaction on Twitter. So we have a heat check. First one from Matt George, who's a media member in Sacramento. This is embarrassing for Adam Silver. After working for years to make regular season games matter, you are basically saying they don't matter enough to watch other than highlights. This comes off as telling the priced out consumer, I don't care if you can't afford to watch. And it was a retweet of Rachel Nichols' report on what Adam Silver had said. Point made basketball. What are we doing here, Adam Silver? Rather than addressing meaningful concerns and fostering a love for the game by making it more accessible, you're deflecting and boiling a sport down to being highlight-based. Much of NBA media is already consumed by hot take culture and taking away from presentation and accessibility, and further leaning into that by saying it can be consumed through surface-level options such as social media is only going to make that worse. Just a bad look in general, even if that isn't the intention here. Even during the NBA Finals themselves, the lack of love invested into presentation could be felt. NBA media in general is always looking for headlines rather than breaking down the game it was built upon. Lame as hell, in my opinion. Former Mavs owner, Mark Cuban. Adam definitely whiffed on this one, but I can tell you that unless a lot has changed in the last 20 months, he is one of the people standing up for fans in a room where a lot of owners are not. That's awesome to hear from Mark Cuban, because I've always liked Adam Silver, so it's good to hear that that's how he usually is, because he's always come across that way. Again, put a mic in front of someone long enough, they're going to say something relatively regrettable. Now, on the same day of Silver's comments, the NBA announced a tweak to a specific stat, and I think frankly, it's absurd. I do not get it. It's, again, coddling and accommodating whiny players. I get that it's a small thing, but to me, it's a big thing. And the fact that they have to even do this is insane. How have we reached this point with the NBA? Starting this season, a player at the end of a period or quarter takes a shot like beyond half court, a buzzer beater, if you will, just to chuck it. It's no longer going to count as a shot attempt on his stat line. It's a team shot attempt. So, because players are so worried about their own stats, they intentionally have been doing something that does not help their team win.
I remember when Dwayne Wade, Braun down in Miami, they didn't take those last second shots and they used to hold the ball. It was a ripple effect. We started doing it in Boston and Doc Rivers called the meeting. He was like, hey guys, no, we're not doing that. We're going to take these shots. Yeah. And I remember E. House, he was on the verge of hitting the record books in the Celtics history. He would not shoot those end of the quarter, end of the halftime type shots.
Now let's see.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen this. Players intentionally take their time getting ready to shoot, so the buzzer goes off, and then they release the heave, so if it goes in, it doesn't count. But they're more focused on it not being a shot attempt and a miss. Now, guys like Nikola Jokic, Peyton Pritchard, some others, all about trying to beat the buzzer and get a bucket. But others do what Kendrick Perkins was just referencing and how it all started. Maybe I'm an old fart yelling at the cloud. It's embarrassing that the league has to do this, but the players refuse to bend. If you have to tweak something, get some advanced analytics firm to redo your stats when you are a free agent so your own agent can, do the heavy lifting and the dirty work with teams saying, no, his shooting percentage is really this. And if you don't think this is another example of the league coddling its players, check out this exchange. NBA reporter and Sirius radio host Justin Termine, upon hearing the news, tweeted this on X. Durant can now go back to shooting heaves after not taking a single one since 2018 because he's more concerned about his shooting percentage than helping his team win. Jokic, by the way, led the NBA with 22 last season in an example of someone who actually values winning over stats. Then Kevin Durant replied, we get it. You love European players over American-born players. Enjoy the heaves, my boy. I probably still won't take them. Justin Termine replies, just because I don't like this aspect of your game doesn't mean I don't like you. I actually respect you a ton for coming on the show, despite me not agreeing with everything you do. Wish more guys address their differences, so good luck this season. Pretty remarkable exchange when you think about it. On one hand, I love how Kevin Durant is so seemingly authentic on social media, willing to engage with fans or media members, just pure authenticity, which you want. It's refreshing in a lot of ways. But on the other hand, we get a window into just how fragile he is and essentially some other players. Instead of just accepting the criticism, which is inarguable, talking about the stats, how he hasn't taken one since 2018, he accuses a media member of just loving European players over American-borns. Dude, the stats don't lie. You intentionally avoid doing something that could help your team win because you're protecting your stats. Simple. Own it. Don't get defensive and accuse them of liking European players over you. And this is the issue with the NBA. When is it enough? Why does everything have to accommodate whiny players? I've defended this league forever. I love the NBA, still do. I grew up watching Showtime and the Lakers in the 80s, right? It was my childhood. Over the years, I continue to defend them because I hear so many lazy takes, some misinformed takes. They don't play defense. Not true. The game is so much worse now. Also not true. These players are elite. The game has evolved immensely. Such analytics, though, it's so advanced that at times, I will concede, you wonder at the aesthetics of the game if it was better prior to just everyone hanging out beyond the three-point line. That's fair, but skill-wise, it's off the charts. And make no mistake, these guys are incredible and work very hard. However, load management is unacceptable. It's not working. If it was preventative and actually working with its intent, then fine. Then don't play 82 games. But guys are still getting hurt and playing 65 games. The league has allowed these guys to control the league, take all sorts of time off, and it's not preventing injuries. So what's the outcome? They don't come to work. Fans are paying tickets. They're getting these tickets in advance, and then the stars aren't playing. The league needs to stop bending over backwards for them, plain and simple. For example, take the NBA Cup in-season tournament where they have to pay players extra to compete harder during specific regular season games. They offer a cash prize for the team that wins it. Why aren't their salaries enough? Again, I defend their salaries and still do because I believe in supply and demand, although the CBA kind of limits free enterprise. Like it or not, players are worth their salaries. Again, supply and demand. But they should also have to go to work and not have to be further incentivized to play hard. And this stat change is just the latest example of changing league infrastructure to accommodate players who aren't giving it their all and coddling them, their softness, their whining. It really, really bothers me. Now, along the same lines of protecting feelings, if you will, I could not believe when I heard this. Just a nonsensical opinion of a WNBA legend, an adult. Angel McCoughtry is a 2-time scoring champ in the W, also a 5-time All-Star, and she's close with Angel Reese. They both grew up in Baltimore, different eras, of course, but they formed a bond over the years with their common ground. McCoughtry appeared on a recent podcast, Good Follow, which is part of the DraftKings Sports Network, discussing Reese's recent suspension by her team, the Chicago Sky, for comments criticizing in the media, front office, and teammates. And she thinks a bribe is the solution.
Never want your teammates to feel like, because they're already looking at you like you have everything, right? Like you said, they don't have $1 million endorsement deals, but they're having a losing season too. You know what I would do, Angel? I would get one of my endorsements, say, give me an extra 100,000 so I can give all my teammates 10 just to show them I care. I would do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That puts you in a limelight of like, wow, let's set this girl up. The owners will look at you like the GMs, and then they'll make sure they set you up for success. But when it's like, I got to take care of me, and don't make it sound like it's just all about you, especially when you're such in a blessed position that other girls will never see.
Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. I welcome disagreement because I think this is ludicrous, but I also encourage thinking outside the box. But to me, this is so dumb on a few levels. First, Angel Reese does not have the power to just snap her fingers and tell a company that endorses her, give me $100,000 for my teammates. No, they have a negotiated deal, and if she's capable of negotiating $100,000 more, that's her money. The entire reason any company pays Reese for endorsement deals is because that company doesn't care about other players. She's the one who moves the needle. They don't care about her teammates. She's the one who stands out. This is not an award based on production that her teammates helped her get, like an NFL running back, right? Gifting something to his linemen because it was straight production and they were so invaluable, obviously creating the holes, things like that. Her endorsements have nothing to do with production. In fact, her teammates mostly stink, so they actually hurt her brand. They've been unable to reach the playoffs. That would, if she were in the postseason, she'd have more visibility, maybe get more endorsements. Second, the main reason Reese is so popular, particularly within the Black community, is her unapologetic approach, and that's celebrated. The last thing she should do is bribe and coddle her teammates, right? That's not unapologetic. She doesn't need to. Her teammates already like her anyway, and they routinely defend her. Plus, it's not her job to help the front office and ownership kind of right the ship of the Chicago Sky. I think they're the worst front office in all of sports. They're terrible. They need to get their act together, not ask the face of their franchise to go panhandle for money for their teammates so everybody can live in harmony. Yes, Angel Reese should not have said those comments publicly to the media. She apologized, whatever. She got a suspension. But bribing them? Utter stupidity. But maybe I'm wrong. Let me know your thoughts. Is this the right solution that Angel McCoughtry had? Does she have a point? Either way, we want to hear from you. Let us know whether you think Angel Reese burned a bridge with those comments. Is this the answer? Who knows? Let me know your thoughts. Time now for Fans in the Stands, and this is a great segment where we get to engage with our audience, our fans in the stands, and some really good feedback and some comments given the last episode, which focused on the controversial ballot from one female AP voter for the college football poll. And it was really just an oversight. And then the cover-up was worse than the crime. So we had some interesting comments and kind of both wide range. Let's call it that. First one from Sean Scott. You say it's indefensible and then defended because she was tired? Come on, Doug. I get what the point. I responded. What I meant was the actual ballot was indefensible. There's no arguing that. You can't have South Florida undefeated off the ballot entirely and then Florida, who South Florida beat at the Gators' home field, go up 2 spots. But I defended the concept of someone making a mistake. It's fine to make a mistake. It happens once in a while, just not perpetually. And the cover-up was bad, the dismissive nature, the condescending tone, all of that. That was indefensible as well, but I understand the concept of making a mistake. It happens. Robert Thompson, if it had been a male voter making that mistake, there wouldn't even be a Zoom call to analyze. No one would have even brought it up. I respectfully disagree. And in the last segment, I brought up the fact that Jim Miller, former NFL quarterback, voted Lamar Jackson 4th on his MVP ballot last year, got tons of criticism. It was Allen or Lamar, widely perceived as the two, and he somehow had Lamar 4th on his ballot. And that's a guy with total legitimacy, having played the position and in the NFL, obviously, and being male and white male for that matter, but he got roasted. So I disagree. Now, the Zoom call, I think, was with her employer. I'm not really sure what exactly it was, but I definitely think the criticism would use, the verbiage of the critics would be different, and the female thing would be a low-hanging fruit. But I still think a male voter, if he had been as dismissive as Haley Sawyer was, then yes, that would have been the case. Don't have a first name here. Next comment. Some men are sexist jerks, and Haley deserves every last bit of criticism she is receiving. Both things can be true. The bottom line is this. Like it or not, her vote carries weight and can affect people's jobs and careers. Clearly, she does not take it seriously, and she is probably not the only offender. It's a great point. She's probably not the only one that kind of goes through the motions and half-asses it, so to speak. But she's the first one who had that egregious mistake with USF completely off the ballot in Florida going up despite losing at home. I do think both can be true. I think that's a really good point. Like, she should be criticized fairly, of course, and with the proper tone. And then there are also sexist jerks out there who just want to just ridicule a female. Doesn't belong in football, doesn't belong in sports. Both can be true, and I think that's a great point. Paul Sampugnaro, give the girl a mulligan. She made a mistake and made it worse by trying to make light of it instead of admitting her mistake. I think we've all been there. Sometimes we do stupid things when embarrassed. Haters are going to hate, but hearing from some of her colleagues, she does a good job. And that was the other thing. I did include a tweet from a colleague that went to her defense, and that was retweeting another one. It happens. We never want to be judged by our worst day. I'm not saying that's definitely our worst day, but that's one of them. I thought we had a nice conversation here in the comment section. So I appreciate everyone's, and please like and subscribe and hype as well. That's really valuable in this YouTube world. The analytics we really need. It's the currency we need. But we also invite everyone to join the conversation. Get involved. Let us know what you like, what you dislike, what you want to see more of. Hopefully you have a lot of comments from this episode, because for me, I'm pretty heated about some of this stuff. But that'll do it for this edition of Hard Pass.